Hello, Lumen brothers. This is Father Mark Haydu, chaplain up in New York. Recently talking with the chaplains and the presidents of Lumen, we decided it would be important to give you a little more context about the background of the Legionaries of Christ, our particular mission in the church, and that spiritual family that grew out of our foundation, which is the Regnum Christi movement, a name you may have heard of. And so just let's start with a religious order like the Legionaries of Christ. Every religious order that gets founded in the church focuses on one mystery of the life of Jesus that they delve into more concretely, more specifically, and then that informs the way they do ministry or apostolate in the church. For example, the Franciscans, they meditate a lot and focus on the mystery of Christ who becomes incarnate, becomes poor, lives among us, sheds the glory of his divinity and walks among the poor of humanity in order to redeem and lift them up, right? The Dominicans, that Christ who teaches the truth, right? Or the Jesuits, that Christ who gives glory to God, right? And brings about his kingdom, right? Is inspired to take initiative to transform society. Well, for the Legionaries of Christ, the mystery that we focus on the life of Jesus is that Jesus from 30 to 33 who calls together apostles, forms them in small group and explains his heart to them, and then preaches to them, sends them out. And that's what the Legionaries of Christ try to do. Whenever we do ministry, wherever we work, throughout some 1,000 legionaries throughout the world working in many countries on pretty much all the continents, either specifically present or they travel to do ministry. That's what we try to do, imitate that Christ. Call together small groups, form them, give them spiritual direction, challenge them to go deeper spiritually through retreats, and then send them out. Do something, make an impact in the world. As we did that historically in the 40s and 50s and 60s, it became evident to us, and it was always kind of there, that to do that well, we needed priests who could work with lay people. That it wasn't the lay people who were coming to the sacristies, coming to the church, that society was changing. You needed priests who could go out, be modern missionaries, be able to gather people together in all different forums of the world, and then form them and send them into their different milieus and be able to make an impact. And as we did that, and again, through those same years, the lay people started to form around the legionary order and want to dedicate themselves. Some, even single women, say, hey, I want to live this spirit personally, intensely, and I want to dedicate my whole life to that. Thus the consecrated women were born. Or conversely, also the men, consecrated men, said, hey, I don't feel called to be a priest, but I do want to live this kind of missionary lifestyle in the world. Thus the consecrated men. And lay people, married people, say, hey, we want to live this in family and become kind of these modern missionaries in society, live our faith in an apostolic way to make an impact with you legionaries, with you consecrated men and women. And so they associated as well to this movement, which is called Regnum Christi. When we started living that in the United States, and specifically in New York City some 25 years ago, the fathers were saying, hey, how do we make an impact in this city, in the business community that marks this city? And it became evident with Father John Connor and a few of the Regnum Christi members, the best way to do this was to take some of this small group formation, one-on-one attention, and really invest in business men and women. And thus Lumen was founded. That same spirit, that same desire to make an impact, but tailoring it to the business community. And so there's a lot of overlap between Regnum Christi and the Lumen Institute, a lot of similar ways of making an impact, small groups. Thus we call, our Lumen chapters. Then we have our Lumen circles. Then we have the Lumen coaching, the one-on-one, and then that Lumen action where we try to send them out. Very similar to what legionaries do in a lot of different ways. They do apostolate. And we, as in all of our different apostolates and our camps, our schools and retreat centers, etc., even some of the programs like Walking with Purpose, what kind of sprung out of our spirituality, or others, out of that, people who walk with us, who receive spiritual direction with us, who are in those small groups, many of them will discover through those, hey, I want to go deeper. I'm feeling a call to live this way of Catholicism, of a deeper apostolic commitment, a regular prayer routine, a desire to come together in community more regularly with like-minded people who also want to make an impact. And those people, through our programs and apostolates, have just said, hey, I want that for me in a stable way. I feel called to that. God's doing that in my soul. And thus, they want to associate with Regnum Christi movement. Associate, which means some prayer commitments and even some entering into a team life of other like-minded people, or then together, hey, making an impact through some apostolate. So it's our hope through our work with Lumen, for those souls who are called, not everyone will be by any means, but for those who are called, that's available to them. They understand, hey, that parent company, that larger family, that spiritual umbrella of Regnum Christi is there. In many places, that is what they offer the spiritual exercises, silent retreats. They offer activities for our children. They offer missions, etc. So that broader network of spiritual support is available to our Lumen members, as it is to so many of the other people who work with us in different ways. That larger offering of the Regnum Christi movement, that invitation to go deeper in their spiritual growth, is there on offer. So wanted you to be aware of that, understand the connections, understand the bigger picture, and also when you hear it, have context. And then personally, if you feel, as you get to know Lumen and the Legionaries of Christ, if God is inviting you to more, then you'll have the context to begin talking with your spiritual coach about that. God bless you.